portion of a statement issued at 6:31 a.m. on this Monday by the PNP, which says the headline is Cooper's Pen Demolitions, Opposition Spokesperson on Land questions legality of court order, cites 6-year rule. And it says Member of Parliament and Opposition Spokesperson on Land and Works, Lothan Cousins, is demanding immediate public disclosure of the court order relied upon in the recent pre-dawn demolition exercise in Cooper's Pen, Trelawney, warning that if the order had expired without a lawful extension, the state faces serious exposure to damages claims. MP Cousins pointed to Civil Procedure Rule 4621, which requires express permission from the court before a writ of execution can be issued if 6 or more years have elapsed since the underlying judgment. Quote from Lothan Cousins, under CPR 4621, a judgment creditor cannot simply sleep on their rights for a decade and execute a possession order as of right. We are demanding that this exact order be released immediately so we can verify whether it is lawful and whether it received the mandatory extension. He also stressed that historical Court of Appeal rulings restrict the order strictly to the 99 identifiable residents originally linked to the legislation. Quote from him again, that order cannot be treated as a blank check. Removing anyone outside those 99 named parties without a fresh, independent, and lawful court order is entirely illegal. I'll stop there. I can just box off the last 3 sentences. He further cautioned that if state agents, including bailiffs and police officers, acted under an expired order without verifying a formal extension, the state itself is heavily exposed to legal liability. Quote, if no extension was sought from the court and the state relied on an outdated order, the state is profoundly exposed. Affected persons can and should claim damages from the state for participating in unauthorized, unlawful enforcement. Mr. Cousins strongly encouraged all residents impacted outside the strict parameters of the historical order to immediately seek independent legal counsel to pursue redress against both private and state actors. So note that this statement I've read from Team PNP concerning the Cooper's Pen demolitions, the opposition spokesman on land questioning the legality of the court order, citing the 6-year rule. This statement was issued on this Monday at 6:31 a.m. and MP Cousins wants a public disclosure of the court order which gave the owner of the land the right to do what happened on Tuesday. And he also wants to know because he's saying that if the thing had expired, you can't take an old order and do what was done. And he's telling those outside of the 99 named defendants, the original 99 named defendants, he's telling them that they must gear up and lawyer up, because he's saying that if that demolition was carried out against anyone not named among that 99, then the state will have to pay, because those persons can and should go to court and press home their claim for damage because they were not among the 99 named. All right, so it's 10:10 on this Monday morning. This statement from the PNP at 6:31 a.m. asking for full disclosure of the court order. Sita, this is the court order that Mr. Cousins is asking to be published. I have it. And we had it on Friday evening at 5:30 when Said Bernard put on that masterclass, that tour de force to explain the Cooper's Pen land matter. This is the court order, MP Cousins. And it names the 99 people. It also has an entry, as Said Bernard mentioned, called persons unknown. So even if you weren't among the original 99, according to this court order, and I'm going to give you the date on which it was filed, this thing was filed on March 30, 2026 this year, and it was heard in chambers via video conference by Mr. Justice C. Stamp on May 19, 2026. So it's fresh, relatively speaking. And not only does it name 99 individuals, on the bottom of page 1, well, at the foot of page 1, 2, 3, 4, the second to last entry is persons unknown. Persons unknown listed as the 85th defendant. So, MP Cousins, you don't have to wait on them to publish any formal order. We have it, and we've had it since last week. And it's here in my hand. So, the question of whether or not the order is fresh has been answered, and answered with zoning, because the order says, on the hearing of the notice of application filed on March 30, 2026, and coming on for the hearing on the 19th day of May 2026, and on hearing Juliet Mayer, attorney at law, instructed by RMSO law for the claimant being the private owner of the property. It is hereby ordered as follows: that the claimant be reissued a writ of possession to recover possession of the approximately 14.5 acres of the northerly portions of the lands known as Orange Grove, south of Cooper's Pen and Burnwood Beach, being lands registered at volume 1008 folio 636 of the Registered Book of Titles in Trelawney, containing by survey 284 acres, 1 rood, and the 22 perches of the shape and dimensions and buttings as appear by the plan thereof, further to the order of this honorable court, and it is signed by T. Bailey, registrar, and stamped and certified as a true copy. Kevin, you can zoom? Right here, so all of that, it is certified as a true copy of the court. So we don't have to wonder if the order had lapsed, if it's stale, and if anybody outside of the original 99 are covered. It says here in black and white that the claimant must go and possess their land. And the 85th defendant, persons unknown. Can be a big group, can be a small group, but it is a group. And then you had names here, the names of individuals listed as well. So I think that covers the query in the statement sent by the opposition earlier on Monday. We take the break and come back.
In Trelawney, the incident is quite concerning, and many of the images that we have seen are disturbing. My heart goes out to the families who have been dislocated. I see a particular image of a newborn and the mother being displaced. These are the tragedies of our history, and it is one thing that history does is to repeat itself. And I am committed that our history is not repeated, which is why I am unequivocal and very clear in not endorsing squatting and the illegal occupation of land. As a society, we must draw a line on this business of the illegal occupation of land. But at the same time, we need to turn a new page on how we make lands available to the people of Jamaica. Not just lands, but housing. The problem that we are having is that we are just not delivering enough housing solutions at the price and at the scale that people would want. The truth is that if the people who occupied Cooper's Pen, if they could have gone and gotten a house at a price point that they could manage, they wouldn't do it. And so the conversation has to change to how do we get more houses constructed in a formal community much faster at prices that people can afford. That is the the real solutions. Right? The solution can't be, which has been promoted by politicians in the past, which is you see that little piece of land there, one go say, and then afterwards we come and correct it. That's the genesis of this problem. That's the history that has repeated, that has gotten us here. The politicians who are talking now, they are a part of that problem. They were the ones who winked at people and told them, go and occupy the land, and then afterwards we correct it. I can swear here that I am not a part of that. And I see some of them talking now who are responsible for it. They are responsible for it. And now it has fallen to me to correct it. And it will be corrected. In the same way we have developed this program, which every week I'm delivering a house to someone who is in need. It is the same way that we will develop a program to address squatter communities, irregularly settled communities, formalize them, regularize them, and prevent further squatting and informal settlement. Jamaica can't develop with informality, but Jamaica cannot develop with unfairness as well. So whatever the government does, it has to address the issue of informality, and we can't be too mouth about it. We have to speak straight. Squatting is wrong. Informal settlement is not encouraged. But yes, every single Jamaican should have equal opportunity to get access to land and housing. But whatever our response is, we have to be careful that we don't set a precedence that is not sustainable. Because whatever we do now, everybody's going to expect that it is done going forward. And mind you, this is not the only repossession, dislocation, eviction that is occurring. And it is occurring on private property, but it is becoming a public concern. So we have to be very careful in crafting a response.
That's the Prime Minister speaking last Friday, it was, Nora? Yeah, last Friday. And because people were saying, they hadn't heard him on this Cooper's Pen matter. So he addressed the issues that he felt pertinent in that exchange. I'm making the point that we were making last week. You see, I see a lot of people in the. I received a lot of messages from people who say they have no sympathy for those whose homes were razed last Tuesday. And I see some of you in the chat, good people, saying, boy, saying the same thing. And I don't want you to think that way. Because it's not right. Man or woman squat and everything get destroyed. I mean, it's a risky run and we know this. But don't let your heart be hardened to not feel for people who will have to start from scratch. Especially, don't forget, here's why you must be sympathetic. Well, I'm sympathetic for them even outside of that. The judge said, I think it may have been Justice Campbell, that the gullible defendants, he described them as gullible, and he said that they were misled by politicians. Remember, politician as the big man. If the big man tells you, listen, don't worry yourself, bill where you bill, we'll work it out. What are you going to do? You're going to work with the politician because he's the big man. The judge himself in the proceedings, Justice Campbell, recognized that these people, it's not toughness of head on their part, and they're stubborn. In country, when somebody extra stubborn, you add a T to it, stubborn. And if a stubborn, then stubborn. The politicians told them that they'd work it out, continue. And the Prime Minister spoke to that as well. And this is what happened to some of the residents in Cooper's Pen. So if even from that perspective, come on, we can't harden our heart and say, we're not sorry for them. You have to feel. But watch this now. Two Music might ask a question. George Davis, you sure it's a document you have in your hand Cousins want the government to disclose? Two Music might have been asking my producer and Kevin the same thing, because I said, this is so, I wonder if something wrong. This couldn't be what the press release is calling for, because this existed in the public domain from last week. And it's been part of the court record since May this year. So, I don't know. You heard the Prime Minister speak there, and what he's saying can be summed up like this. The struggle of the squatter in Jamaica is to eventually become a property owner. And when that squatter becomes a property owner, and say for instance, that squatter squats, thief piece of land, capture piece of land, however you want to put it, occupies piece of land, however you want to put it, builds something there, gets a 6-9 month contract in Canada or in the USA to do some farm work. So gone to supervise or to work picking. That squatter expects to come back, come see him property, undisturbed. You see the contradiction? He or she expects to come back, come see them property, undisturbed, and not in the possession of anybody else. Nobody now occupied it, like a courthouse now to fight them for it. But how did he acquire his in the first place? And what the Prime Minister is saying is what we've been saying since last week. You can't tell me as a landowner, property owner, that my rights are ancillary to the rights of somebody who occupies my land. And as Said Bernard pointed out last Friday, this is one of those cases where you could never say that the owner of the Cooper's Pen land just sat and watched a community develop on the land. No, at every step of the way, this person a fight for them land, a fight, court, letter writing, a fight the whole way. And, you know, I thought about this on Saturday and I said, you know, for what the court has said about the process by which the government attempted to take these lands from the owner, if that is not what government badness is, I don't know. Straight government badness. Because the court made an order. You went and gazetted something despite the court ordering, under normal circumstances, being interpreted as you can't do any such thing as issue a gazette. Judge say you must come court as minister, you don't go court. You lose the case. You file a claim in your own name. The court, but this is an abuse of process. And the court used language that normally you don't say judges use. The judge said, listen, it's because a small man owned the land, why not behave so? This thing is extraordinary. And the upshot for me is that these things are now in the public domain. The understanding of these issues, I think, has increased tenfold with the number of people who've done work on this matter. And it's not just journalism here. And we've done very well with reporting and analyzing the material, if I may say so. Emily Shields has also done a lot of heavy lifting elsewhere. So the sum total of that is that people's awareness of these issues is higher, significantly higher than it was before. And there's a story I found from 2014, 12 years ago. JIS, Alicia Smith Edwards writing this one. And the purpose of this story is to show that government acquiring lands is not new. This story says the government is to acquire several properties as it moves to regularize the land occupation of 330 residents of informal settlements across the island. The properties are to be acquired under the Local Improvement Community Amenities Act, LICA, which makes provision for the declaration of certain defined areas comprising specified lands as special improvements infrastructure areas. The Act also allows for the compulsory acquisition by the government of a leasehold interest in such lands and the carrying out of improvements on such lands in accordance with special improvements infrastructure schemes. Minister with responsibility for housing, that man, again, Dr. Murray's guy, made the announcement during his contribution to the 2014-2015 sectoral debate in Parliament on Wednesday, June 4. He noted that the areas targeted for this intervention include 81 St. John's Road in St. Catherine, 12 Whitehall Avenue in St. Andrew, 10 acres at Cloisters Bay in St. Anne's Bay, St. Anne, 10 acres at Darlington Drive in Old Harbour, St. Catherine, and 30 acres at Orange Valley in Salt Marsh, Trelawney. The minister noted that these are in addition to the compulsory acquisition of 2 properties in Portmore Lane, St. Catherine, that were declared on the LICA to facilitate the regularization of 105 occupants for which Cabinet has given approval. You know, before I go to the break and open the lines, let me just say that there's a recent example of government acquiring lands and giving it to the people who were squatting on it. The example is 85 to 85 and a half Red Hills Road in St. Andrew. But that whole process, stretched over a long, long time. The acquisition of the lands was being done from about 1988. And Delano Sivright and Bobby Montague were there recently, earlier this year. A $68 million project to put in some infrastructure in the community and so forth. So what they attempted to do in Cooper's Pen was done at 85 and 85 and a half Red Hills Road. But the key difference, as the judge pointed out, is this. The state of the community at 85, 85 and a half Red Hills Road was not a vibrant community like Cooper's Pen. Because the law says, and I have the document here, when I get time later on I'll read it. The law says, as Saeed pointed out, and again I go back to that excellent piece of analysis from one of the country's foremost young attorneys, to say that the law looks at development of schemes in areas where there's no infrastructure, the dilapidated housing. That's what you're going to improve. But Cooper's Pen was never that. Cooper's Pen have JPS around light, NWC around water, concrete structures. 85 and a half Red Hills Road was never that. And that's why the judges were convinced, and they said it. I'm not interpreting what they said, I'm restating what they said. You are just trying to separate a small man from him land, because a small man never owns so much land. And you're trying to benefit a group of people, an organized group of people, contrary to what the law says should be done in circumstances where liquor is used in the manner that you have proposed to use it. So, I love knowledge, I love information. I'm happy that more people have the light switched on where this issue of property occupation, government's right to take land, all those things, the country is far more advanced in its understanding of these matters than they were before those fateful events on Tuesday of last week. And the sum total of all of that is that people lost their property and are wondering now how they're going to get back on the horse. But boy, I tell you, government badness is what was used and attempted to get that property owner to relinquish ownership of the land. And it all comes back to that P word. Pam, pananam, pam. Politics. Break time. Your calls after the break.
My hands were steady.